What God is really doing when every door seems closed. There are seasons in life when it feels as though every door is closed. Opportunities disappear, prayers seem unanswered, relationships fall apart, and plans that once looked promising suddenly come to an end. In these moments, many Christians begin to wonder, has God forgotten me? Yet the Catholic understanding of Scripture and divine providence reveals a deeper truth. When every door seems closed, God is often doing some of His most important work behind the scenes. Throughout the Bible, God repeatedly allowed His people to experience periods of waiting, uncertainty, and apparent rejection before leading them into His greater purpose. What appeared to be a dead end was often a divine redirection. Consider Joseph in the book of Genesis. He was betrayed and sold into slavery. Falsely accused and thrown into prison, every circumstance seemed to suggest that God's promises had failed. Yet years later, Joseph recognized that God had been working through every closed door. He famously declared, "You meant evil against me." But God meant it for good. The prison was not the end of Joseph's story, it was preparation for his mission. God often closes doors because He sees what we cannot see. Human beings naturally focus on immediate desires and short-term outcomes. We ask God for a specific job, relationship, or solution. But God sees the entire path of our lives. He sometimes says no because He is protecting us. The Catechism of the Catholic Church teaches that divine providence guides all creation toward its ultimate purpose. Disappointments can become instruments of grace. Another reason God allows closed doors is to deepen our trust in Him. Faith is easy when everything is going according to plan. The story of Abraham illustrates this truth beautifully. God promised him descendants as numerous as the stars, yet he and Sarah waited decades. Humanly speaking, the situation seemed impossible. But through the waiting, Abraham learned to rely not on his own strength but on God's faithfulness. In our own lives, closed doors often reveal where we have placed our security. Have we trusted more in our plans than in God? St. John of the Cross described the dark night of the soul, a time when God seems distant and spiritual consolation disappears. Before David became king, he spent years fleeing from Saul. Before Moses led Israel, he spent 40 years in the wilderness. Preparation happens in hidden places. Modern culture celebrates instant success, but God's method is usually different. He shapes character before assigning responsibility. He teaches obedience before opening new opportunities. Each soul has a unique vocation and mission. What appears to be a delay may actually be God's perfect timing. Perhaps the most powerful example of this principle is found in the Passion of Christ. On Good Friday, everything appeared lost. Every door seemed closed, yet what looked like the greatest tragedy in history became the greatest victory. Through the cross came the resurrection. Therefore, when every door seems closed, do not immediately assume that God is absent. He may be protecting you, teaching you, or preparing you. The challenge is not merely to wait for a door to open. The challenge is to trust the one who controls the doors. And when His timing finally becomes clear, we often discover that the doors He closed were necessary for us to walk through the one He had prepared. Thank you for watching the video. Please like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video. Goodbye.